Hi, I'm Barry, and this is my H1N1 and COVID-19 vaccination predictive analysis. I'll be analyzing historical variables to determine if individuals are likely to receive the H1N1 and seasonal influenza vaccinations. Then I'm going to combine that with the current COVID-19 data set and look for correlations that might help predict the sentiment and behavioral risk obstacles that could inhibit the vaccination distribution. I want to identify trends in demographics or geography and compare and highlight the target variables. Here are the data sets that I'll be using in my analysis project. On the left, we have the H1N1 data set. From 2009, this was commonly referred to as the swine flu pandemic. As you can see here, the data set is pretty much divided into two parts. You have the binary inputs or scalable inputs, and below the categorical inputs. The binary inputs are yes or no, 0 or 1. Some of the scalable ones, opinions, are 0 through 4 from least to greatest. The categorical inputs are age, sex, race, less than, greater than inputs that apply to the variables in the lower half. On the right, we have the COVID-19 data set. Again, I've circled the categorical inputs, and the rest of the data set are pretty much numerical. In the middle, you'll see I put join age group. This is where I combine the two data sets together on the age. Some transformations had to take place. The COVID-19 data set had 14 different categories for age. The H1N1 only had 5. But from the COVID-19, they all fell within the ranges of the H1N1 data set for age. And so I was able to, through transforming the data set a little bit, get all those age groups and align it, make it match with the H1N1 data set. Below, I have from GitHub the COVID-19 tweet data set, which I want to develop a word cloud. As we know, word clouds take all your tweets and can output the most common theme or most common words from all the tweet data set. And this data set has 38,000 rows. And I'm hoping we'll see a common theme there that I can apply to the H1N1 data set. Because remember, there at the bottom, on the top half, had a lot of opinions. Is the vaccination effective? What are the risks for both the H1N1 and the seasonal influenza vaccinations? I want to find significant variables related to both the target variables in both data set, create logistic regression decision trees, gradient boosted models, and see which output yields the most accurate data. For the COVID-19, I want to create decision tree and linear regression models and compare the results. I plan to use most of my modeling in SAS Enterprise Miner. I use Python to transform the data. RStudio, I've gotten a good look at the data and did some exploratory analysis with it as well. But SAS Enterprise Miner will be my primary tool for the models and comparing the models against our target variables from both data sets. Here's a quick look at some of the visualizations that I've used. From Python, you see there are two target variables from the H1N1 dataset. I have my H1N1 vaccinations and seasonal influenza vaccinations. The top one, you can see that not a lot of people got their vaccinations in 2009 during that pandemic. Compared to today, COVID-19 pandemic, everybody wants to get their vaccinations. Those numbers would be a lot higher. But this is telling because a lot of people didn't, so I want to find out why. I want to do the exploratory analysis to see what variables were factors in people not getting their vaccinations for the H1N1. The seasonal vaccination, that's your seasonal influenza that we all suffer through each and every winter, that was pretty much split. Half the people did, half more than half didn't. Again, why either way? Why are people getting or not getting? What are the inhibitive factors for there? In the middle here, you see a Tableau output here that I've done. Again, I've joined on the age variable like I explained in the previous slide. And this was really powerful telling. Here we got, you see my seasonal vaccination target variable from the H1N1 data set on the far left. You see a date range because COVID-19 is a time series. But then you see that age group. There's one particular category here, 55 to 64 years. And then the demographic. Remember, I wanted to pull in a lot of demographics and geographical regions to see if there was a particular demographic or geographic region that has higher or lower rates. And then we have the COVID-19 deaths and total deaths and death rates from influenza. And this is important. This is why I chose this to compare to the H1N1 data set. Is the H1N1 data set only has those factors of influenza vaccination. You don't have any death totals, mortality rates for any group, whereas the COVID-19 does. So I'm hoping that there will be important correlations from the COVID-19 data set that I can apply and compare to the H1N1. So my key process indicators here, of course, percentage of the H1N1 seasonal flu vaccinations, either yes or no. Percentage of the COVID-19 seasonal flu death rates per 100,000 by geographical region. Again, I want to emphasize that most important factor, geographical or demographic highlight. And then when I get my models built, a 95% prediction significant outcomes by key factors, identifying those vulnerabilities. And then our curves, a rock curve measure illustrating a decent area underneath the curve from my binary data analysis. Here's the references that I use, and I got my data sets from Kaggle and GitHub. Thank you.